lesson where I'll take questions from you and I will try my best to answer them. I'm Bob the Canadian, and this is one of many live lessons I've done on a Saturday night. I've actually lost track. I think I've been doing the Saturday night lesson on and off since about sometime last spring. But thank you all for being here. Thank you to the 45 people or so who were in the chat. My best. It was nice chatting with you before the live stream started. I was glad that I had a little bit of time to do that. It's nice to see some familiar names. I'll say a few, but I'll miss someone. Hello to Renata and Saeed and Chant and Lolly and Beryl Wilson is here, and so many more. Rachel Ting is here, and I just lose track. It's probably not good to say hi to everyone in the chat because I will miss someone's name. So hopefully you realize that I am just happy to see all of you here, and I hope that you have a good time during this lesson. The link is posted by Todd in the chat. If you're new here, the way this works is Todd will post a link to a Google form in the chat, and I will take the questions from the Google form and I will copy and paste them back into the chat one by one as I answer them. There's usually too many questions for me to answer, so please be patient as we go through this. You may ask me almost any question you want about the English language. You can ask questions about me. The only questions I usually don't answer are detailed grammar questions. Those are hard to answer during a live stream. I want to give a shout out to Sean from Free 99 English. He is in the chat. Sean and I have been talking quite a bit via email and trying to coordinate our live streams so that when my live stream is done, you can head off to another English lesson with Sean if you have time. I know some of you are in a part of the world where it's early, and that's easy to do. Some of you are in a part of the world where it's late, and that might be a challenge. But at the end of this, I will post a link to Sean's live lesson that's coming up as well. This will be about 1 hour. Let me get to the first question. I feel like I'm talking too much, and the questions are going to build up. First question is from Silvio. Let me paste that in. Silvio says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. In the song Tonight's the Night from Neil Young, there's a phrase, he used to load that Econoline van. What does that mean? Thank you." So an Econoline van is actually just a Ford van. A long time ago, Ford made vans that were called Econolines. If you search Econoline van, I just want to make sure I'm right on this. Yep, there's a Ford Econoline van. So it simply means is the brand or the name of that type of van. Next question is from Peter. Let's see here. Yes, good point, Sean. Anyways, Peter has the next one. What is the difference between will and going to? So at this point in the development of the English language, there isn't any real difference. It is my understanding that going to used to mean something closer in the future than will, but right now we use them interchangeably. I'm going to drink tea during this live stream. I'm going to drink tea. I will drink tea. I can use both sentences and they mean the same thing. Next question. Let's see here. Deekshanch. Oh, let me see if I can get this. I've wanted to ask this question for some time. I am confused. Should I use ISE or IZE in ending in words like organize? I personally prefer the British spelling. So I'm not a good person to ask about that because Canada uses a lot of British spelling, but we borrow a lot of spelling from the Americans because we were originally a British colony. And because we live close to America, Canadian English is this weird mix. So I actually use the Z version more often, which is probably, I think, because of my American cousins or my British cousins. I'm not sure. Alicia has the next question. What is the difference between also and as well? So I also like to eat. Besides teaching English, I like to eat. I like to eat as well. In those two sentences, they mean exactly the same thing. So we can say that. Grace Zhang has the next question. Grace says, how to say LOL? Is it pronounced LOL or LOL? So some teenagers say lol. I've heard people say lol. Technically, you should say laughing out loud, even though it's the letters LOL. It stands for laughing out loud. But some people say lol, usually young people, I think in a mocking tone, but mostly we say LOL, or we actually say laughing out loud. Let me clean up my questions here. There's lots of questions coming in. Thank you very much. I will try to speak slowly, but go quickly if I can. Flavio says, hey Bob, Flavio again. Hi Flavio. I'd like to know, is there any difference between city and town? So yes, a city is bigger than a town in general, although sometimes people will refer to their city as a town. But yes, there is a slight difference. Renata says, hi Bob. First off, Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. And Happy New Year to all of you. I forgot in yesterday's live stream to mention that. Happy New Year. I hope you are all having a good 2020. We also say 2020. Did you know that? Let's see. Haydar, you asked this question last time too, and I'm not sure what it means, but I will try to answer it. Haydar says, hi, Sir Bob. How are you? Is it better to speak or die? I'm not sure what you're asking there. It's better to speak or not speak. It is certainly better to speak, but the way you're phrasing your question, it's kind of a strange way to ask that question. So maybe try to ask it a different way. Next question is from John. Hi, John. Hi, Bob. My question is, which one is correct? Is it me or is it I? So this is a tricky one for me, because if someone was to say that they were looking for someone, and I could say to them, is it me? That is how I would say it. That is, I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say it, but I would say, is it me? Maybe Sean or one of the other English teachers can chime in and let us know whether that should be me or I. I actually don't know. In common informal English, you would say, is it me? For sure. Let me see. Alicia says, what is the difference between and as well as? I'll have some fries and a burger. I'll have some fries. I can't type today. As well as a burger. So in those two sentences that I put in the chat, they mean the same thing. Okay, so they are exactly the same in that sense, in those example sentences. Renata has the next question. What does flake on someone mean? So that's interesting. Let me rephrase it. If you he flaked out. If I say someone flaked out, it means they became unconscious, okay? So if you say that someone flakes out, it is the same as losing consciousness. Losing consciousness. Someone asked yesterday how to pronounce that, but anyways, it's when you lose. Sorry, I'm losing track of what I'm doing here. I'm doing too many things at once. You should know though, Todd is not a robot. Todd is actually a human. I know some of you were asking earlier. Some of you have theories that I'm actually Todd typing away, but I'm not. You could ask Todd a question in the chat and he would answer it, and I wouldn't have any idea about it. Next question really quick. Freddie Merlin says, could you make a video about linking? I certainly can do that, no problem. Grace Zhang has the next question. Happy 3rd YouTube anniversary, Bob. Sorry this is late. What is elephant in the room? So an elephant in the room is something that you don't want to talk about. When there are a group of people, the best example I can think of is if you were at work. Todd says, I am not a robot. Yes, Todd is not a robot. Let's say you were at work and you knew someone at work was doing something wrong, and other people also knew they were doing something wrong, but no one wanted to talk about it. You would say that that is the elephant in the room. So it's the thing that no one wants to talk about. Next question. Pablo says, hi, Bob, what's up? What is nuisance? I think you mean this word, nuisance. So a nuisance is something that is a bother. A young child who constantly says to their mom they want candy in the store, you could say the child is being a nuisance, or the child is a nuisance. Let's see here. Next question is from Brolio. I know it seems like I'm going fast, but there's a lot of questions coming in tonight really quickly. I should just relax a little bit and take my time. Next question is from, it is I is the correct way, but the correct way and the way native speakers speak are two totally different things. Everyone will say it is me. Yes, thank you, Sean, for verifying that for me. That is what I thought as well, but I didn't have a means to look it up to be official with my answer. So that is correct. I would say, is it me, for sure. Brolio says, should we say 2020 or 2020? We say both. In fact, when we speak, you will probably often hear us say 2020. When we write, we write 2020. I guess when you write, it's the same thing, isn't it? This is the evening where Bob the Canadian makes some sense while he's talking, and other times, this is a great one, other times he's a little wishy-washy. So Renata says, what does wishy-washy mean? So when someone is wishy-washy, they are not reliable, okay? Or there's someone who maybe they'll give you one answer one time when you ask them a question and they'll give you a different answer at another time. We would say that they are wishy-washy. So I'm being a little bit wishy-washy tonight. Let's see here. Next question is from Saeed. Which one is correct? News has spread or news have spread? Oh, so the first one. News has spread that the world is at peace. That's not actually true. Things are a lot worse than that. But you would say news has spread. Adolfo, let's see here. Adolfo has the next question. Adolfo Carrillo says, Bob, is there a difference in pronunciation between the words here and between hurt and heard? So first of all, it is over here and I hear a bird. Those are pronounced exactly the same way. But I hurt myself or I heard a bird are pronounced differently. So I hurt myself. I do say the T sound, and I heard a bird. That rhymes, by the way, so that might help you a little bit there. Sidhu Muswala says, how can I become good at reading comprehension? Small correction there. How can I become good at reading comprehension? The best way is to read something where you understand most of it, but it's still difficult, and then read a lot. So to repeat, find books where you understand about 70 to 80% of what you're reading without having to look up words, and then read a lot of those types of books. Reading a lot is the best way to get better at reading. I know that sounds like a simple answer, but it is very, very, very true. That's a lot of varies. We have more questions than we get most nights, so I will work very hard here to get through the questions. Louis says, hey Bob, how are you? I'm good, Louis. I hope you are well. What is the difference between literature, manner, and moral? So literature is just any kind of writing, particularly books, novels, we would call them literature. And then manner is the way in which you do something. So the manner in which I eat or the way in which I eat. And moral is simply whether you have a good sense of whether something is right or wrong. Okay, so if you have a moral compass, it tells you whether something is right or wrong. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Cecilia from China says, hi Bob, what's the difference between all and whole? Thank you very much. I ate all the cookies. No, wait, I ate all the bread. And then what's the second one? Whole. I ate the whole loaf of bread. So I gave you 2 example sentences there. They are slightly different in the way that you construct a sentence with them. So if I was to say, I'm going to drink all the water, I would have to, if I want to use the word whole, I would have to say, I will drink the whole cup of water. So it's a slightly different way of saying the same thing. The words don't mean the same though, for sure. Todd, if you want to slow down on posting the link, I am getting a lot of questions, and I don't want to disappoint too many people, but I am going to keep working hard through these questions. Let's see here. The next question is from Renata. What's the difference between moment and momentum? So the moment is the exact period of time we are in. We are currently in the moment. So this moment, I am speaking, okay? So it has to do with time. Momentum is when, if something is moving at a certain speed, because it has momentum, like if I push this cup and then stop pushing, it will keep moving for a little while because it has momentum, okay? That is the difference between the two. Next one here is from Fanny. Fanny says, the tips of how to speak English quickly without thinking which grammar must be used, especially for a beginner like me. Thank you, sir. The best way to learn to speak English quickly without thinking is to start saying out loud everything you're doing while you're doing it. Do that when there's no one else around. You can do that when you're by yourself. But for instance, if I was practicing my English, in order to practice my speaking and practice my thinking in English, I would do this. I am raising my hand. I am putting my hand down. This is a remote control. I am using the remote control. These are my glasses. I rarely wear my glasses during a live stream, but sometimes when I read, I have to wear glasses. This is my mug. If you can learn to narrate or to express what you are doing as you are doing it as a way to practice English, it will really help you start to think in English. That's what I recommend. I highly recommend that students do that. When I practice French, that's what I do. Où sont mes lunettes? Ils sont ici. That's what I do. Let's see here. Spirit says, hi, Bob. When we use a weight instead of a weight or weight, what's the difference among those? So, a lot of money awaits the winner of the lottery. A lot of money is, yeah. So a weight and weight are different for sure. And what was the last one? Instead of a weight or weight amongst those? Yeah. I await the day when my children will help me do YouTube. I can't type tonight, people. I'm trying my hardest to do a good job here, but I'm having trouble typing. And that's how I would define those two. And then wait is just different. Like I wait for the day. I guess when you use a wait, it's a little more flowery. It's a more interesting way to say it. Let's go to the next question. The next question is from Sebastian Bob Lopez. I am teaching an English course. The approach is conversational. I would like to know which English subjects should I teach. So first of all, if you're teaching or maybe you're taking a course, I'm not sure which, but I always recommend that conversation is very important, but don't forget to read, write, listen, speak, and learn vocabulary every day. Make sure you're doing all 5. Learning a language through a conversational method is very effective, but if you can back it up, that means if you could help out that conversational teaching or learning with a good amount of reading, writing, and listening, and building vocabulary, that helps a lot. I always recommend you do all 5 all the time. Let's see here. Fabricio says, do you mind if I tell you you are a sugar daddy? So I don't mind if you say that, but you would be incorrect to use it. A sugar daddy is someone who has a lot of money, and so people will want to be a partner of that person because they can just live off their money. So when people look for a sugar daddy, they're looking for someone who is rich so that they can be their partner, so that they can date them. So you could call me that, but I'm not giving you any money. Next one. That was kind of a funny question. Let's see here. Al Uzani says, "Hi Bob, first, thank you so much for what you do. You are welcome. I have questions. I have a question. My accent is not good. How can I have a Canadian accent?" So when it comes to accent, I'm laughing at Sean laughing in the chat. Sean from Free 99 is laughing about the term sugar daddy. So let's get back to the question though. How can I have a Canadian accent? Well, you will want to do what's called shadowing. You will want to listen to Canadian speakers, and you can use YouTube for this. You will want to listen to them say a couple of sentences and then pause the video and then repeat what they have said and try to mimic their accent. So when you shadow or when you mimic a native Canadian speaker, that will help you do that. A gold digger is someone who's looking for a sugar daddy, if you're wondering. There you go. Let's see here. Lolly Lolly. Hi, Lolly. Hi, Bob. Used to, be used to, and get used to. Oh, used to be and get used to. Okay, so I used to be a computer programmer. It's a little bit of silence there. I forgot to put a period at the end of the sentence. I used to be a computer programmer. A long time ago, I was a teacher and I was also a computer programmer. So when you say I used to be, it means that it's something that was in the past. If I say my kids need to get used to being on YouTube someday, it means that they have to become, it has to become something that they are comfortable doing. When you get used to doing something, that's interesting because I just used it. I'm used to drinking tea during my live stream, aren't I? Because I learned long ago that I needed to get used to it. So when you're used to something, yeah, it has two meanings. Sorry about that. When you're used to something, it means you like it and you're comfortable with it. When you say you used to do something, it means that you did it in the past. And in order to be used to something, you have to work at getting used to it. You have to get used to it. I think I confused a few people there. Sorry about that. Maybe listen to that again tomorrow and do look up those two phrases just so that you get a little bit better clarification or a little bit better understanding. So everything with Leela, one of the reasons I don't read all the comments is because there are too many of them. So please don't spam the chat. I'm sure Todd took care of that. But there is a forum where you can ask questions. I am a little bit behind, but I do my best and we're all happy with that. Brian has the next question. Hi, Bob. Happy New Year. What's the difference between there is many, there is much, there are many, there are much? So first of all, you should say there are many ways to do that. So there is many is technically a little bit incorrect. Let's see here. I lost the question. It scrolled up too fast. There is much to do before tomorrow. So that just means there's a lot to do before tomorrow. And there are many people at the concert. So there's 3 example sentences. Hopefully that helps you a little bit with those. Let's see here. Next question from Javier. Javier says, "Hi Bob, Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. Same to you. What do you think about learning English, listening and imitating, talking everything or saying everything you hear? Does it work?" I think it's very, very effective. It's called shadowing or mimicking, and it's a great way to practice your pronunciation, but it also helps you think a little bit. Folks, if you are asking questions in the chat, I will not answer them. There's too many. So please don't ask questions there. Many of the viewers use the chat to just talk to each other. That is a great way to use the chat. So if you are seeing someone spam the chat, Todd will take care of it. I think Todd's pretty busy tonight moderating the chat. Hopefully he can keep up with it. Let me get the next question from my list of questions. Let's see here. Giselle says, thanks, Todd. That was awesome. Giselle says, let me get my question back here. Here we go. Giselle says, is there a difference between the word while, when, and whenever? Thanks, Bob the Canadian. So while I answer this, Todd will moderate the chat. By the way, thanks, Todd. You're awesome. When I read this, Todd will moderate the chat. So I can use them kind of the same there, you know, when I read this. And then the last one moved on me there. Oh, whenever. So whenever means a repeated action. So whenever I am thirsty, I drink some tea. So that's kind of a recurring action, we call it, an action that happens all the time or over and over again. So let's see here. Tu fam man, please don't spam the chat. It's hard for me to keep up when the chat is moving quickly like that. Let's see here. Daniel says, hi Bob, have you tried ginger? It has anti-inflammatory properties that will help you with your throat. I'm saying this since I remember you had been having issues with it. So it's common for people doing live streams to have not a sore throat, but a dry throat. And the reason I think it happens to me is because in the winter in Canada, the air in our homes is very, very dry because we are heating our homes. It makes the air very, very dry, and it makes us have what we would call a tickle in our throat or a bit of a dry throat. I know Sean in his last live stream was drinking water just the way I drink tea because he had mentioned as well that he was getting a dry throat or a sore throat while he was doing the live stream. But I will try ginger for sure. I will try almost anything. Let's see here. Next question is from Mateus. Hi Bob, when should I use do in an affirmative sentence like I do like to drink coffee? So it's when you want to be very assertive about how you are answering the question. So if you say to someone, you know, I like to drink coffee, you could also say I do like to drink coffee, which means you would be emphasizing it or being not assertive, but you are certainly being very clear that you like it. I can't do this. There's a very difficult grammar question that I'm going to skip. I'm going to take the next question from Miroslav. Hi Miroslav, it's good to see you here. Do you ever have dreams in French? Are you ever tired after several hours speaking French? Greetings to you and Todd. So yes, I do sometimes dream in French. Next semester, I will be teaching upper level French. So I will be speaking French most of the afternoon, and then I will dream in French. Have I ever been tired? Yes, it is physically exhausting. You will probably have the same thing when you're speaking English. It's physically exhausting to speak a different language sometimes. It's just very, very tricky. Let's see here. English Danny says, that happens to me when I teach, for sure. Next question from Renat. And hi, English Danny. Sorry, I don't know if I said hi to you yet. I'm a little off my game tonight. Any of you know what that means? I'm a little off my game. It means I'm having trouble focusing on everything that's happening, but I'm doing the best job that I can. Renat says, when do you use would for the past, and can I use it for all the negative sentences? That's a pretty broad question. Like yesterday, I would have said this. Tomorrow, I will. Yeah, so I think you should look that one up. That's a pretty intricate grammar-based question. And if you're using would in the negative, it's usually wouldn't. So I would or I wouldn't. Let's see here. Next question from Imani. How to use as well. So beautiful expression. I'd like to use it, but I can't do it the right way. Let me see here. I'm going to drink some water this time. Usually it's when you are in agreement with someone. So if someone says, I like swimming, I could say, I like swimming as well. You can also say, I like swimming too, but that's how I would use as well in a sentence. Let me clean up my questions here, everybody. I get a lot of repeat questions, and it makes it a little difficult for me to find the next good question. Adam says, hi, Bob. When I watch movies, especially in, I think, American English, I hear the words three, thank you, think, and I hear the T sound instead of TH sound. Can I hear well? Thank you. So three, there are three, and thank you for watching. They're definitely th sounds. I think that maybe you're just hearing them a little bit wrong. I would listen to them a little more closely, and if you can slow the video down, if you can play it at 3/4 speed, you might be able to hear a little better the sound that's actually being said. Let's see here. Next question is from Louise. Says, I'm an advanced English student. Awesome. And I cannot learn more vocabulary. I mean, vocabulary, so what you want to say is vocabulary doesn't stay in my mind. What should I do? I mean, how could I improve it? So first of all, if you are an advanced English student, I would focus on learning vocabulary in your area of study. What that means is if you are becoming a doctor, you should learn vocabulary in the field of medicine. If you are becoming an auto mechanic, you should start to learn vocabulary in the field of auto mechanics. The world of vocabulary in any language is a circle of common vocabulary. And then there's all kinds of basically lines of vocabulary for different areas of interest. So medical vocabulary, science fiction vocabulary. So if you are an advanced student, read and learn vocabulary in the area of your interest or the area of your study. Andre Cruciante says, hi, Bob. I've learned the word mare recently. Is it related to the word nightmare? I can't help thinking about it, and I find it funny. I don't know, but a mare is a female horse, and a nightmare is a bad dream. And I don't know if they're related. That's a great question. We should look that up, somebody. Next question. Andre, that was a great question, but I don't know. I don't know if they are related. Hi, what is the difference between diminish and minimize, dwindle, reduce, decline, decrease? So a lot of words there. So I could say that the fog diminished. I could say that the fog, let me see, minimize is a little different. You kind of, when you minimize, you're actively doing that. So you could minimize the amount of work that you do. You could say that the fog is beginning to dwindle, or the fog is reduced, or it's starting to decline. All of those would work. They all have slightly different meanings though. The best one that I would pick out of those would be reduce or decrease. So if you had to talk about something that's getting smaller, I would use reduce or decrease. So let me see here. Todd's forgetting words. That's kind of funny. Todd is a native English speaker, by the way, just so you know. And someday, maybe you'll meet Todd, but he doesn't want to be on video, as far as I know. Plus, he has to drive quite a while to be here, so that would make it a little bit challenging. And he's not a robot. Hi, what is the difference between flaw and defect, error, fault, mistake? So a flaw is something that's imperfect, okay? So a flaw would be, if this remote control was missing a button, that would be a flaw, or a defect. They would both work. An error or a fault is something that someone does by accident. So in baseball, you have errors. Someone makes an error in the game of baseball, so they make a mistake. And then foul and fault, you'll need to look those up because they have specific uses. And they actually have a couple of different meanings. Let's see here. Next question is from Abdel Eid. Does it mean I had or I would? So I'd rather not say. There, I used it. In the situation where I used it, that means I would rather not say. If I was to say I had a drink, I would say I had a drink. Okay, I wouldn't use the contraction. So I'd equals I would. Next question. Let me clean up my questions here. There are still a lot of questions to go through, so please be patient. Thank you, though, so much to all the 340 odd people who are watching here. That doesn't mean you're odd, by the way. If I say there's 340 odd people, it means there's about 340. Let's see here. No, I will not be speaking French tonight. And yes, if Todd ran for president, I would vote for him. Tapa says, pronounce the difference between shirt, short, and sort. Okay, so I wear a shirt. I am short. I'm not actually short. I'm average height. I'm 5'10". There's a new fact for some of you, but I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I am short, and then I like to sort out money. I don't know why I said that. So I wear a shirt. I am short. I like to sort out money. There are the pronunciations of those three for you, Tapa. Let's see here. Next one. Daniel says, in the construction, it is me that likes onions, for example. It's correct to use an objective pronoun. These constructions are called cleft sentences. So, sure, it is me that likes onions is a proper sentence. You could also turn it into a question by saying, is it me that likes onions? Notice my tonal change there as well. Do people like onions? I didn't know people. I like onions, that's for sure. Okay, next question. I'm going to sort through a few of these. So if I don't read your question, it was either too difficult to answer during a live lesson, or it was just too complex in terms of a grammar concept. Hi, what is the difference between, just a second here. Oh, this is from Hi. Hi. What is the difference between take stock of and take notice of? So before I get groceries, I take stock of what is in the fridge. Okay, so before I go get groceries, I take stock of what's in the fridge and what's in the cupboard. So it's kind of an assessment of what's there. Let's see. Am I tall? You won't answer this. Renata, you are an awesome height. That is the perfect height for all people in the world, 5'7". Second part, take notice of. So when you take notice of something, it just means you observe it. So I sometimes take notice of the fact that students are not on time. So I have simply noticed. So I sometimes take notice or I notice. I think you can use them almost the same way. I hope everyone in the chat doesn't feel like they're short now if they're below 5'10". I'm probably considered tall in most parts of the world, but in Canada, I'm actually considered a little bit short. Most of the people I work with are taller than me. Most of the men are taller than me. Some of the women are taller than me too. Let's see here. Alex says, hi, Bob. In real life, do native speakers use a lot? Use the expression, I'm happy a lot. I'm happy. Hello, how are you doing? I'm happy, and you? I teach kids English, and we need to teach that. Is it weird? If someone says to me, how are you doing? I don't often respond by saying, I'm happy, okay? I usually respond by saying, it's going good. I'm having a good day. I might say so-so, it's going so-so, or it's a so-so day. I wouldn't often reply by saying, I'm happy, okay? How are you doing? I'm happy, and you? You could, but it would not be one of the normal responses. I think there are a couple of good videos on how to answer, how are you doing in English, and maybe watch one of those. Saeed has the next question. Saeed says, would you please explain how to use got you and caught you? Thank you. So got you. So this is a little bit of a slang saying when you say got you, like I got you. So what you'll hear sometimes students say is, hey, I need help studying for the next test. And another student will say, it's okay, I got you. And what that means is that student is planning to help the other student study. When you say, I got you to someone, it means that you plan to help them. When you say caught you, the only time I can think that you would say caught you is if you physically caught someone, which you shouldn't do. But if you were a kid playing a game where you were trying to catch other kids, you might say, ha, caught you. You might say it. See, we use the word caught when we don't understand something. So you could say, I didn't catch what you said, or I caught what you said. Yeah, so you could say, I caught what you said, or I caught your meaning, or I can say I caught your drift as well. That's kind of a slangy thing. All of those would mean that you understand what the person is saying. Let's go to the next question. Excuse me. Let's see here. I'm forgetting how to copy and paste. Yaroslav says, could you recommend some book or app to learn advanced grammar, maybe some courses, etc.? I can't think off the top of my head. I am going to reference the chat though, because Chant has just said he wanted to tell me that yes, the words nightmare and mare are related. So they are related to each other. Thanks, Chant, for that. Back to the question though, Yaroslav, that's a fairly broad question. I don't have any courses to recommend to you that you could take. Although what I would recommend is that you find a really good book on introductory English grammar from a reputable publisher who explains things in your native language as well as in English. And that might be hard to find, but it's nice when you are first learning English grammar. Even if you're learning advanced grammar, like you said, to find a book where it's explaining things in both languages for you. But I don't have any recommendations for you, sorry. Leave a question in the description or in the comments below, and I'll try to find something tomorrow that I can give to you. Ronaldo says, when can I use also and to? So I like to play chess also. I like to play chess too. So those two sentences mean the same thing. And that is just a simple use of the two. I'm not going to go in depth, but that gives you two sentences to read and to listen to. Edwin Romble says, hello, Bob. Happy New Year. What's the difference between university and college? So in Canada, in Ontario in particular, you caught you red-handed. That's a good, yeah, look at Sean from Free 99 just posted caught you. That's a good example of caught you. Thanks, Sean. Edwin says, university and college. So in Ontario, you go to university to become a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer or a physicist or a biologist. You go to a university. You go to a college if you want to become an auto mechanic, if you want to become a videographer, if you want to become a bricklayer, if you want to become a nurse. So it's really just a slight difference between colleges in Ontario train you for a job and universities train you so that you can have a degree, and then that leads to a job. So it's just slightly different. I think it's the same in most of Canada. Let me see here. Next question is from Douglas. Again, I am skipping through the questions a little bit, so sorry if I skip yours. Douglas, hi Bob, good to see you. You too, Douglas. What's the difference between, I think you're looking at find out and figure out. So not fund out, but find out. Sometimes I find out that my students have been cheating. So when I find out that my students have been cheating, that means maybe someone told me they were cheating, or maybe I find out there's some little notes on the ground they were passing to each other. But if I say sometimes I figure out that my students are cheating, it would mean that I kind of investigated it. Like I found some evidence here, and I noticed they were behaving a certain way, and I heard a student say maybe that they were going to put their answers on the side of their water bottle. So then all the different things together make me realize or figure out that they were cheating. That was not a good explanation. This is the evening of Bob the Canadian, making some sense, but not total sense. So sorry about that one. Hey, we got 15 minutes to go. I just wanted to mention that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in 15 minutes, Sean from Free 99 English will also be doing a live English lesson. So if some of you have time for that, I'll post the link in a bit. Sean, you can post the link too towards the end of this. That's fine with me. Sean and I are trying to coordinate this so that the more English, the better for all of you. So let me keep going though with the questions. Let's see. Carlos has the question. What's the difference between to have and to own? So I have a van. I own a van. In that case, they mean the same thing, okay? I have a van. I have a pair of glasses. I own a pair of glasses. The have is something where you probably, if you were in a classroom and your teacher said, do you have your phone? They're asking if you actually physically have it with you. So you would say, yes, I have my phone. And if you say, do you own a phone? You're not asking if the student has it in the room, okay? So if you say, do you have your phone? You're asking if they have it with them. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, yes. So I was wondering if someone would notice this. Adriana Pazzini says, hi, Bob. I'm here just to say to you that I'm seeing my postcard behind you, and it's cool. Have a happy new year. So I have some postcards on the wall from some of you. I have so many postcards. I was overwhelmed with the amount of postcards. So I'm going to put some on the wall every week. I hope to have several areas of postcards. So if you see yours, let me know in the chat. And then I'm going to change them every week. But I get about, I think about 5 or 6 postcards a week. It's a lot of postcards. So thank you if you are someone who sends postcards. That is awesome. In fact, oh, I shouldn't tell you this. In my next video, it's part 2 of my daily routine. I'm going to go to the post office and check my mail. I hope there's some postcards there. Let's see here. Next question is from Tahir, or Tyre. Let me just scroll back. I saw something in the chat. Oh, yes. Okay. Tahir, hi, Bob. Thank you for your lessons. You are welcome. I have a question. When I am speaking, I feel distracted during my conversation. So notice I fixed your sentence there. When I am speaking, I feel distracted during my conversation. And then I can't use my past, present, and future tenses correctly. This is very common. I highly recommend that you practice using trigger words. So you practice saying things like, yesterday, I went to the store. So the word yesterday triggers you to use the past tense. Yesterday I went to the store. I go to the store today. Tomorrow I will go to the store, or tomorrow I am going to go to the store. So try to think of the trigger words that will help you, and your brain will slowly learn that. So trigger words are things like the other day, or yesterday, or last week. All of those trigger words and phrases make you think that you need to use the past tense, and then do the same for the future, tomorrow or next week or next year. And then you will know that you need to use the future tense. So that's what I would recommend. Otherwise, you will end up speaking in the present tense all the time, which, although it does work, it can sound a little weird after a while. Let's see here. Next question is from Gladys. Gladys says, hello, I'm trying to learn English faster, but I don't know whether reading or listening would be the faster way to learn English. What do you think? My opinion is that the fastest way to learn a language is to have conversations with native English speakers. If I was to choose the fastest and best way to learn a language, it would be that you should be talking to a native speaker and not just listening, but talking to them. That being said, I highly recommend, and I'm going to repeat this again, you should read, write, listen, speak, and learn vocabulary every day, okay? If you're looking for speed, though, in learning a language, the only way to learn a language faster is to spend more time every day working on that language. So if you want to be fluent in a year, you would probably need to spend 2 hours a day working on that language and then immersing yourself in that language every other minute of the day. So that would be 2 hours of active work, and then all your music, all your movies, all your television, everything you possibly can do in English, you do that. So let me see here. Let's see here. Emerson. That was my little rant about how to learn a language fast. I don't believe you can learn a language fast. I think it just takes time to learn a language. Emerson says, what's the difference between the pronunciation of a word and world? So this sentence, wait, let me start again. The word I like best is, I can't think of what. Color. That's the Canadian spelling of color. That's not my favorite word. I live in the world. So the word I like best is color, and I live in the world. Hey, thanks English Danny for the super chat. Let's make sure to press the thumbs up button, says English Danny. Thank you very much, English Danny, for that reminder to people, and thank you for the super chat. You know, I don't ask for super chats. If you like to give them, that's fine. I don't ask for them. But yesterday there were so many super chats and stickers. I just feel like I need to say thank you. I think because yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of my YouTube channel, people wanted to send me a little gift. So that was really nice of you. So thank you. And thank you, English Danny, for the super chat and for the reminder to hit thumbs up. Let's see here. Some questions here that I'm going to skip. There's a few repeats. Let me clean things up a bit here. This is not a question, but I'm going to paste it anyways. Amani from Brazil says, you are the best teacher. Thank you. I don't think I'm the best. I am a teacher though. That's for sure. Saeed says, what's the difference between at the moment and in the moment? So at the moment, I'm doing a live stream. So it simply refers to the activity that I am currently involved in. So you could say, you know, at the moment, I'm doing a live English lesson. You can also use it much broader. You could say, at the moment, I'm studying English. If someone said to you, what language are you learning now? You could say, well, at the moment, I'm learning English. In the moment means a lot closer to the exact time that things are happening. So sometimes people will be out for a walk with someone who they like, and then in the moment they might feel attracted to the person. So it's like a specific time in the moment. In the moment they might have this desire to hold someone's hand. So that is the specific time. Renata asks, is momentum the same as movement? No. So this is movement, right? You can see the movement of the cup. But again, momentum is when something is being pushed or is being driven, and then you stop pushing it or you stop applying power, and the momentum will keep it going for a little bit. That is the difference between those two. It's very sciencey tonight. Let's see here. Roger Davies says, hi Bob, please talk a little about hairdressing vocabulary, English vocabulary for getting a haircut, like machines, number, etc. So I think I should do a whole video on that, but what I will tell you is that I cut my hair with hair clippers, and I cut it using a 1/4 inch, and I don't know a lot about hairdressing. Hairdressing is usually used when we talk about women's hair, and we usually talk about the barber shop, or we talk about just getting a haircut for men's hair. So hairdressing is for women getting a haircut. And as you can tell, I'm not an overly stylish person when it comes to hair. I shave right here, I shave down here, and I clip my hair every 3 weeks. And most of you notice when I get a haircut because I do videos so often. Let's go. Ingrid has the next question. Ingrid says, I can understand, but I can't speak English. Is this normal? So I flipped your words at the end. Ingrid says, I can understand, but I can't speak English. Is this normal? So it's normal. It's actually Jen cuts my hair, Sean. I said I cut it. I kind of start the job and then Jen finishes it for me. Yes, it's normal if you do a lot of English listening and you aren't doing a lot of English speaking. So here's why I keep recommending reading, writing, listening, speaking, and building vocabulary, because sometimes people become really good at listening. They can understand spoken English, but they have trouble speaking it. Or they might be really good at reading, but they have trouble writing. And they go to take an English test, and they do really well on one section and poorly on another. When I did the French B2 test, I have my French B1 and B2 certificates. Excuse me. I did really good on speaking. I did really good on reading and writing, but I scored somewhat low on listening because I hadn't practiced it enough. So all 4 areas are important to work on, because even though they're related, they need their own practice. It would be like always lifting weights and this muscle would get big, but if you're never doing this, then this muscle would stay small. It's the same when you are learning a language. Let's see here. Priyanut says, hello, Bob. Should I say, so I flipped some words there, should I say for the whole day or all day? So you can say both, like I worked for the whole day. I worked all day. So it's a slightly different way of saying it. It means the same thing. So I worked for a whole day or I worked all day. Both of those work. Let me see here. Next question. Oh yeah, I can do this one. This is an easy one. Farnaz from Iran says, how can I say the right pronunciation of world and girl? So the world has the same number of boys and girls. I don't know if that's true, but world and girl, or girls. There you go. Let's see. The next question is someone who thinks that I'm good looking. So I'm going to skip that one. Thank you for the compliment, but I'm going to skip that one. Jari. Next question. What's the best tip to lose my accent? Number 1, make sure you are talking with a native English speaker. Number 2, when you are listening to native English speakers, make sure you are repeating what they are saying. Number 3, record what you are saying and listen to it again yourself, and then be critical and listen to the mistakes you are making and try to correct them. The last thing you can do is you can hire someone who helps correct accents. That is an expensive thing to do, but that is something that you could do for sure. Let's see here. Next one is Renata says, have you ever heard of the channels Lang Focus, The Polyglot Files, and Azrin the Language Nerd? They're all Canadians, along with Mad English TV and Free 99 English. So here's a little secret. I don't actually watch any other English language teachers on YouTube except for Sean from Free 99 English. When I started on YouTube, I thought, I don't want to watch any other English teachers on YouTube. I just want to come up with my own style and my own way of doing this. So I don't. I know Mad English TV because a lot of you have mentioned that you know that person, Mark, but I have not watched the other channels because I spend most of my time making videos and not very much time watching videos. If you look at the number of minutes of video I put out per week on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, I don't really have time to watch too many videos. By the way, I'm speaking close to my normal speed tonight. For those of you that like it when I speak a little more correctly, let's see here. Let me do the next question. So when you use, Pishan says, Bob, how are you? I'm from Taiwan. How do you use literally in a sentence? So you can literally just put the word in there. So that means that you're really doing it. So you could just say, I literally climbed the wall. That would mean you did climb it, okay? Sometimes you say, oh, I was just climbing the walls. That's figuratively. But if you say, I literally climbed the wall, it means that you actually climbed up the wall. Hey, folks, I'm going to give you a link here in a sec. We are going to head on over. If you want to continue, head over to Sean channel, free 99. I'm going to post the link here. Sean is doing a live lesson. It's starting in a minute or two. It might have already started. Let me check. It's starting soon. He's over there. This one is done. This lesson is over. I'm Bob the Canadian. Please watch this video again tomorrow with the subtitles on in English if there were parts that you did not understand. I know you had questions and maybe I didn't answer it very well, but please, if you have a chance, please watch this video again. If you didn't watch yesterday's video on pronunciation, I think it was pretty good as well. You can send me a postcard if you want. The address is in the description below. I do really like reading them. I know I don't say that on my channel very much, but thank you. And thank you to all of the people who came and watched tonight. You are awesome. I hope that you have a great day. And I'm going to push the stop button now, and I'm going